is going to be an interesting thing when it's all done. I don't know. I really don't know. I may end up taking this apart and turning it into like a 1x, or I have no idea. I was going to rip apart my current, what I would call my touring or adventure bike. I was going to rip that apart first and mess around with it, but I thought, let me try to build this one up first. And then once this is all set, then I can mess around with that one. And that's probably a relatively wise thing to do, because I don't know. I'm just starting to have a weird hunch that I might not love this setup, and I might want to turn this into a flat bar. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me put the cassette on here. All right, I was just getting the mass of my cassette. Pretty hefty, 380 grams for the cassette. It does have a huge range. It's the Shimano CSHG 5010. So I think this is, again, relatively on the budget. This is probably like the Dior level. It's a mountain bike cassette. Good thing it's going on a mountain bike. Truth is, it doesn't really matter. The bike doesn't know, the cassette doesn't know what it's being used for. The spacing up to 10 speeds, or at least the spacing for Shimano for each of their systems between the cogs is the same, no matter if it's mountain or road. The only difference is that most road bikes, derailleurs, don't have the ability to handle such large cogs, but I'll show you how I can by using a 9-speed rear derailleur, 9-speed designed rear derailleur that has the capacity to handle all of the gears that I'm going to put on here. Putting on a cassette, though, onto a hub is really relatively straightforward. So the way these work is the first, there's a lock ring. This is what you use a special tool at the very last phase to tighten down so that it compresses the cassette onto the hub body, the cassette body. But all this is a little lock ring, and then for these Shimano cassettes, the 11 tooth, which is the smallest, and then the 13 tooth are loose, and then the rest are all machined. They're held together by this machined spider. So this is all basically one unit that's got this relatively heavy-duty spider, and then you've just got two loose cogs that already have the spacers kind of in place. So it's really a no-brainer. All you have to do is keep things in order, and the way they thread onto this is, I don't know where the light is the best on this side. The way they thread onto the hub body is with these little small grooves, and they're all the same except there's one that's extra narrow, and all you have to do is make sure that when you're putting the loose ones on, that those extra narrow ones, they all line up. They just have to line up with the proper groove, and then everything is just super easy. So the only trick, well, there's really no trick. I'm just going to want to grease the actual splines here. These are the free hub splines. There's the narrow one. That one is narrower than the others. Everything just lines up based on that. But I'm going to take the skewer out. You have to take the wheel skewer completely out. And this is a brand new wheel set, and one project that I have never done on wheels, and I haven't been ambitious enough to yet, but a lot of people have reviewed these and say that the hubs are not, they don't come super smooth. Now I honestly wouldn't know what an amazingly smooth hub felt like versus a slightly non-amazing hub, probably because I haven't used the highest performance stuff ever. But they feel good to me. They roll pretty well, so I'm not going to go into that. In the future, I probably will. I'll do a video on how to get into the ball bearings that are inside here. But for now, until this starts to feel like it's underperforming, I'm just going to let it rock. So I'm going to put a little bit of grease on these splines so the cassette slides right on, and then just put it on in order, put the lock ring on with the tool, and that has a 40 Newton meter tension, which is pretty high. But that's good, because you don't want that cassette, you don't want that lock ring falling off and your cassette flying off on the road. That would be a bad thing. I'll go over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up that narrow one on the top, right, so it's facing up. And then all I'm going to do slide everything on. I'm not going to do any grease on this. Just find the narrow groove. That's the narrow one. So it's going to go up. So it slides on right just like that. Like so. Take the 13 tooth, take the 11 tooth, find the narrow gap. That goes into place, and then that's all there is to it. And I'm just going to put a little touch of grease on the threads of the lock ring. It's not I think it's aluminum. It feels really light. It doesn't feel that robust, but it is supposed to be torqued down pretty good. All right. So that's that. That lock ring, to get the to put it down on full tension, there's a special tool which all you have to do is get the tool, and this is not a torque. It's not a torque wrench. But 40 is tight. So you pretty much just crank this down hard. That's it, that's good. Sweet. Cassette rotating. Catches fine on the forget body or whatever it is. So I'm just going to put the skewer back through, set this wheel back into place. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to call it day one of the bike build. I've accomplished quite a bit. I got through headset, quill stem adapter, stem bars, and then I got through bottom bracket, crankset, pedals, and now cassette is installed. So not bad. Not bad for one day. Again, not really going. I'm not. What I am not doing is rushing. I'm not rushing it, and I could go faster, but you know, to what end? Part of me doing this is that I enjoy the process, and so why would I rush and build a bike in a day and then have nothing to do tomorrow? You know, kind of how I see it anyway.